Once upon a time, in a far-off land, there was a magical kingdom ruled by a kind and wise king. The king had a beautiful daughter named Princess Lily, who was loved by all the people in the kingdom. She was kind and gentle, and everyone who met her couldn't help but feel happy. One day, while Princess Lily was out for a walk in the royal gardens, she stumbled upon a small, injured bird. It was a little sparrow, and its wing was broken. Princess Lily felt sad for the bird, and she decided to take it back to the palace and care for it until it was well again. She took the bird to her room and made a cozy nest for it out of some soft fabric. She fed it tiny bits of bread and water and sang it sweet lullabies to help it sleep. The bird soon started to heal, and it grew stronger every day. As time went by, Princess Lily and the little bird became good friends. They would spend their days together, playing games and telling stories. The bird loved to hear about the princess's adventures in the kingdom, and she loved to hear the bird's chirping songs. But one day, the bird began to feel restless. It had been cooped up in the princess's room for a long time, and it wanted to see the world outside. Princess Lily was sad to see her little friend go, but she knew it was time for the bird to spread its wings and fly. So she took the bird outside and opened her hand, letting it go free. The bird flew up into the sky, chirping happily as it soared through the clouds. Princess Lily watched it go, feeling both happy and sad at the same time. But as the days passed, the princess began to notice something strange happening in the kingdom. People were starting to feel sad and upset for no apparent reason. They didn't smile as much as they used to, and the once bustling streets were now empty and quiet. Princess Lily knew she had to do something to help her people. So she gathered all the animals in the kingdom and asked them if they knew what was causing the sadness. The animals talked among themselves and finally came to a conclusion: the little bird was the key. The bird had left behind a magical feather when it flew away, and this feather had the power to make people happy. The princess knew what she had to do. She set out on a journey to find the bird and bring back the feather. After many adventures and obstacles, Princess Lily finally found the little bird. She explained the situation to it and asked if she could have the magical feather. The bird agreed, and Princess Lily took the feather back to the kingdom. As soon as she arrived, Princess Lily blew on the feather, and a magical wind carried it throughout the kingdom. People who breathed in the magic air suddenly felt happy and content. They smiled, laughed, and danced in the streets. The kingdom was alive again. Princess Lily knew that she had done something good for her people, and she was grateful to the little bird for helping her. She learned that even the smallest creatures can make a big difference in the world. And the little sparrow? It continued to fly free, knowing that it had helped bring happiness to the world. Once upon a time, in a magical land far away, there was a beautiful kingdom ruled by a kind and wise king and queen. The kingdom was filled with happy people, singing birds, and colorful flowers. In this kingdom, there lived a group of mischievous fairies who loved to play pranks on the villagers. They would hide their shoes, turn their hats into flowers, and sprinkle them with magic dust to make them dance. One day, a little boy named Jack was playing in the forest when he stumbled upon the fairies. At first, he was afraid, but soon he realized that the fairies were just having fun and meant no harm. Jack asked the fairies if he could join in on their adventures, and they welcomed him with open arms. Jack was thrilled to be a part of their group and spent his days exploring the magical land with his new friends. But one day, the mischievous fairies went too far. They cast a spell on the kingdom, causing everything to grow to a massive size. The flowers became towering trees, and the trees became towering mountains. The villagers were terrified and didn't know what to do. But Jack remembered a story his grandmother had told him about a magical potion that could break any spell. So, he set out on a mission to find the potion. After days of searching, Jack finally found the potion and brought it back to the kingdom. He poured it over the ground, and the spell was broken. Everything returned to its normal size, and the villagers were overjoyed. The king and queen were so grateful to Jack that they made him an honorary knight of the kingdom. Jack felt proud and happy to have helped his friends and the people he loved. From that day on, Jack continued to have many adventures with the mischievous fairies, but they promised never to cast any dangerous spells again. And so, the kingdom lived happily ever after, with Jack and the fairies by their side, protecting and exploring the magical land together. The end. Once upon a time, in a kingdom far, far away, there lived a young prince named Eric. Prince Eric lived in a grand castle with his parents, the king and queen, and his little sister, Princess Lily. The castle was perched on a hilltop overlooking a vast, sprawling forest. Eric loved spending time in the forest, exploring its many wonders and making friends with the animals who lived there. His favorite spot was a clearing where he would often sit and read his books or practice his archery. One day, as he was sitting in the clearing, he heard a rustling in the bushes. He thought it might be one of his forest friends, but as he turned to look, he saw something he had never seen before, a unicorn. The unicorn was the most beautiful creature Eric had ever seen. It had a shimmering white coat and a long, spiraled horn on its forehead. It looked at Eric with its big, gentle eyes, and Eric felt a sudden sense of calm wash over him. As he approached the unicorn, he noticed that it had a wounded leg. Eric knew he had to help the creature, so he gently wrapped the unicorn's leg in a bandage and gave it some water from his flask. From that day on, the unicorn and Eric became the best of friends. They would spend hours exploring the forest together, playing games, and sharing stories. Eric felt like he had found a kindred spirit in the gentle creature. But one day, a wicked sorcerer named Malakar came to the kingdom. Malakar was a cruel man who despised everything that was good and pure. He had heard about the unicorn and wanted to capture it for his own evil purposes. Malakar sent his minions to the forest to capture the unicorn, but Eric and his friends, both human and animal, wouldn't let that happen. They banded together to protect the unicorn, using their wits and bravery to fight off the sorcerer's minions. The battle was fierce, but in the end, Eric and his friends prevailed. The unicorn was safe, and Malakar was banished from the kingdom. As a reward for their bravery, the king and queen declared a great feast in honor of Eric and his friends. They invited all the animals of the forest, and even the unicorn came to celebrate. And as Eric sat at the head of the table, surrounded by his loved ones and his forest friends, he knew that he had found true friendship, bravery, and kindness in the most unexpected of places. And he knew that with those things, he could conquer any challenge that came his way. Once upon a time, in a far-off land, there was a little girl named Emily. Emily lived with her parents in a small village surrounded by a beautiful forest. Emily loved nothing more than exploring the woods and discovering all of the wonderful creatures that lived there. One day, as Emily was walking through the forest, she came across a tiny, injured bird lying on the ground. Emily was concerned for the little bird and decided to take it back to her house so that she could nurse it back to health. Emily's parents were happy to help, and they created a cozy nest for the bird to rest in. Emily spent her days feeding the bird and keeping it warm, and after a few weeks, the bird had made a full recovery. The bird was so grateful to Emily that it decided to stay with her and be her friend. Emily was thrilled to have a new companion and named the bird Blue because of its beautiful blue feathers. Together, Emily and Blue went on many adventures in the forest, meeting new friends along the way. They met a family of squirrels who showed them how to climb trees, a group of rabbits who taught them how to hop, and even a wise old owl who shared his knowledge of the forest with them. One day, Emily and Blue came across a deep, dark cave in the forest. They were curious and decided to explore it. But as they got deeper into the cave, they realized that they were lost. Emily and Blue tried to find their way out, but they couldn't remember which way they had come from. They were getting scared and didn't know what to do. Just then, they heard a faint sound coming from deep within the cave. Emily and Blue followed the sound and discovered that it was a group of fireflies. The fireflies explained that they had been lost in the cave for many years and didn't know how to get out. Emily knew that she had to help them, and so she and Blue worked together to lead the fireflies out of the cave and back into the forest. The fireflies were so grateful to Emily and Blue that they lit up the entire forest with their magical glow, creating a beautiful light show for everyone to see. Emily and Blue were hailed as heroes by the villagers, and Emily's parents were so proud of their daughter's bravery and kindness. From that day on, Emily and Blue continued to have many adventures in the forest, but they always remembered the importance of helping others and being kind to those in need. Once upon a time, in a magical land far, far away, there lived a group of animals who were the best of friends. There was a clever fox named Freddie, a gentle deer named Daisy, a playful rabbit named Benny, and a wise old owl named Oliver. The four friends lived together in a cozy little den in the forest, and they spent their days playing games, telling stories, and exploring the woods. They were always there for each other, through thick and thin. One day, as they were wandering through the forest, they came across a small, lost kitten. The kitten was shivering with cold and was clearly hungry and scared. The four friends immediately took the kitten under their wing and decided to help her find her way home. The kitten was too young to remember where she lived, so the friends decided to ask around and see if anyone knew anything. They went to all the animals in the forest, from the squirrels to the bears, but no one had seen the kitten before. Just as they were about to give up, they came across a wise old turtle named Timmy. Timmy had been living in the forest for many years and knew everything there was to know about the animals who lived there. He listened carefully as the friends explained their predicament, and he told them that the kitten belonged to the Queen of the Fairies, who lived in a magical kingdom beyond the forest. The four friends were determined to help the kitten find her way back to her home. They set out on a long and dangerous journey, crossing rivers, climbing mountains, and fighting off fierce creatures. But they never gave up, and they finally reached the fairy kingdom. The kingdom was beautiful, with colorful flowers, sparkling streams, and tall, magical trees. The friends were in awe, but they didn't have much time to admire the sights. They had to find the queen and return the kitten to her. They searched high and low and finally found the queen's palace. The queen was delighted to see her lost kitten, and she thanked the friends for their bravery and kindness. As a reward for their good deeds, the queen offered to grant the friends a wish. Freddie, the clever fox, wished for a never-ending supply of tasty treats. Daisy, the gentle deer, wished for peace and harmony in the forest. Benny, the playful rabbit, wished for endless games and adventures. And Oliver, the wise old owl, wished for knowledge and wisdom beyond his years. The queen granted their wishes, and the friends returned home to the forest, happy and content. From that day forward, they knew that no matter what obstacles they faced, they could overcome them by working together and never giving up. And the kitten? She lived happily ever after with her loving queen and friends.